Right now, the African Union passport has finally been launched. It has been cited as a strategic initiative to disband all movement restrictions. It is also expected to create a conducive environment for intra-African trade. Let's bring in our Rwandan reporter, Eugene Anangwe, who's joining us live now from Kigali, Rwanda. Eugene, good evening. So tell us what's happened so far this evening, especially after the summit with all the leaders this afternoon.
Right, it is definitely home stretch for the 27th edition of the African Union Summit right here in Kigali, Rwanda. Now today there was the session where the heads of state and government representatives attending the summit held their session, and it's otherwise known as the 27th ordinary session of the Union's, African Union's heads of state. Now at this particular session, the leaders attending here did talk about various issues, and it was also important to note that Rwanda did make clear and its promise to safeguard Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir because he comfortably walked into the room and was participating in this session. Now at this particular session with the heads of state, President Paul Kagame was very categorical in his speech, calling on his peers to use such sessions to talk about key issues that affect Africa, but not just stop there, but work harder towards implementing the various resolutions that come out of these sessions. Let's listen in.
Are treated as routine, it means we have accepted to be held back by them forever.
Right, the much anticipated election of a new African Union Commission chairperson to replace Dr. Dlamini Zuma did not take place today as expected, and of course there was a closed door session later on after the opening of the African Union plenary session with the heads of state. And of course information that we are receiving right now is that these elections might take place tomorrow, but it is sort of not so clear whether there will be a quorum or unanimous decision on whether there will be these elections or not. What we know is that Northern Africa has not made its decision clear on whether they want a postponement or not, because we know ECOWAS has called for a postponement of these elections. The Eastern African region is saying that we need to go ahead with these elections, and postponing them is a violation of the rules of the African Union, and they are backing the former Ugandan vice president. Now, what we know also is that Dr. Dlamini Zuma did have that opportunity to introduce or to launch the new African e-passport. Let's take a look at that session.
Oh, okay, Eugene, we seem to be having a problem with that clip, but maybe just a quick one. So we know the election of the AUC chair did not happen today. Do we have any indications of when that's going to happen? Will we conclude this, certainly conclude the summit without an election for the next chair of the AUC?
Well, Yvonne, at the moment, things are not that quite clear on whether these elections will definitely take place or not, because even in our earlier on reports, we had mentioned that there are those regions that are calling for a postponement of these elections. But what we know is that the heads of states who have been able to make their voices heard on these elections have said that the elections will actually go on. The only worry is whether there will be a unanimous decision in tomorrow's session whether these elections should be postponed or not. So So, Yvonne, tomorrow we'll definitely be able to follow up keenly and definitely will be reporting on whether these elections will happen or not.
Thanks very much, Eugene Anangwe, joining us live from Kigali, Rwanda.